Hi everyone, I'm Lisa.
And I'm Nick.
And you're listening to It Takes Two, the podcast where two people take two movies with the same plot or premise and watch and discuss them.
And in this episode, we're covering 1991's Point Break and 2001's The Fast and the Furious.
Yep.
Both movies about undercover cops trying to mold themselves into a niche group who are focused around extreme sports.
Yeah, a group of extreme sport enthusiasts who have a desire to pursue high risk, high thrill. They're like thrill seeking, and are also using their skills and camaraderie to commit a series of robberies that this undercover law enforcement person is trying to solve and arrest them for, and so he tries to infiltrate their group by getting into the same sports that they're into and falls in love with someone who's part of the group or connected to the group.
Yeah, the main guy. That's who he falls in love with.
Yes, accurate.
Yeah.
Let's be real, accurate.
The female lead is just shoehorned in to make it more hetero. But like the reality is the relationship is between Keanu Reeves and Patrick Swayze and Paul Walker and Vin Diesel. Yeah. It's got nothing to do with Laurie or I can't remember what Vin Diesel's sister's name is.
Who's Laurie?
Laurie Petty's the actor.
Oh yeah, okay. He plays, was it Tracy? No. What was the name? Tyler. I know it was like a gender neutral name. Tyler. Yeah. And then I know Jordana Brewster plays Vin Diesel's sister, who I genuinely, for like...
Mia?
40 to 45... No, not 40, but 75% of the movie, I thought she was supposed to be his daughter and that he was in his 40s. And then, like, I thought she was like his 20-year-old daughter and he was like 42. And then they started referring to her as his sister, and I was like, oh, he's just got like a much younger sister. And then it turns out he's supposed to be 24?
It was the 90s. Lisa.
Yeah, it turns out he was actually like 35 or 36 playing the role. So still he was more than 10 years older than what he was playing. And it wasn't the 90s, it was 2001. But like, so he actually wasn't in his 40s, he just looked like he was in his 40s. But he was still more than 10 years older than the character he was playing. And I don't know why they thought people would look at Vin Diesel and think, yeah, that's a 24-year-old.
And then he went and played the same character for the next 20 years. Yeah. How old is he supposed to be in Fast X, Lisa?
I don't know. 20 years older? Maybe he's supposed to actually be in his 40s at that stage. Yep.
He was born in 1967.
Yeah, very confusing to me.
That was a bit that was confusing. Yep. Okay.
I genuinely thought she was supposed to be his daughter.
Okay.
And that he was like a 42-year-old single dad to a 20-year-old. That Paul Walker was having some kind of a relationship with.
That's weird.
Why is that weird? Paul Walker believably was in his early 20s. Yeah. Keanu Reeves in Point Break is believably in his early 20s.
Yeah, so is Gary Busey.
Gary Busey is not supposed to be in his early 20s. It's just, yeah, that just confused me. Anyway.
Okay, so this was
the most important part of this.
Well, apparently it is to you. This was the second time you'd seen Point Break. Yes. And the first time you'd watched a Furious and Fast movie.
Yeah, this is my first foray into the Fast and Furious franchise.
How do you feel about these movies? Thinking that we both have spoken about this post watching it before recording this. And you stated that Point Break is a much better movie.
Yeah, I find Point Break a much more compelling movie than The Fast and Furious.
But it doesn't have any sequels. Except a reboot.
So, here's the thing about Point Break. Is that they planned a sequel and didn't make it. Yep. And then someone planned a sequel and then made it about cars and called it The Fast and the Furious.
Is that actually true?
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
It's on the like IMDb trivia, but I didn't find like alternative sources for it. But I also didn't look too hard because I don't care. And then there was a remake.
Yeah, in 2015.
Yep. which I guess we'll do at some point in the remakes, in our remake series.
Yeah.
Allegedly the Fast and the Furious was conceived as, I feel like what's happened is there was two different things that happened, because the Fast and the Furious states that it is based on a magazine article. So that was the wanting to make a movie about cars. But then I think separately there was a wanting to make a sequel to Point Break, and they got merged into one movie. But also the guy who directed or wrote, I can't remember, someone who was involved in Point Break says that the guy who created the Fast and the Furious franchise outright told him that it was inspired by Point Break.
Yeah, the storylines are identical.
Yeah.
It might as well be just like a blatant ripoff. It's not inspired. It is like blatant ripoff.
Yeah.
You have the young, up-and-coming law enforcement person who has to get into the, like, niche thing. He does it through, like, dating the female character who happens to be, like, interconnected with the bad guy. They raid somebody else thinking it's the right people.
Yeah. So in both cases, he wants to get into the sport and gets close to a group to get into the sport.
Yeah.
And then is so attached to them, he doesn't believe that they could be the ones doing it. And then, even though there's like an implication that maybe they are, and then he pins it on a different group that's a rival to their group, based on kind of something that seems like evidence but turns out to be, something else, and then ends up, raiding that group and then discovering that actually they weren't the ones who did it, and then having to admit to himself that actually the people that he has become attached to are the real criminals.
Yeah, but
that's the same, literally.
Yeah.
That whole thing is exactly the same.
The people they raid are criminals, though.
Oh yeah, in both cases, people they raid are criminals, but they haven't committed the crime that they're looking for them for.
Yeah. In the Fast and the Furious universe.
The funniest thing about that in the Fast and Furious, by the way, is that the evidence he has that this rival gang is the ones who've been like robbing these trucks, is that he finds like just a stash of boxes of DVD players, which is what's been robbed off the trucks. And then it just, I guess, turns out that they legitimately just bought a whole lot of DVD players.
Yeah.
Which is wild. Why is that a thing? In Point Break, it's, it turns out that they're being suspicious or whatever, and they're on the same beach and blah, blah, blah. And it turns out that actually they are running a drug ring.
Yeah.
And that there has been an undercover DEA agent with them trying to get to their supplier, and they've just, like, destroyed that whole plan.
Yeah.
But I just think it's funny that in the Fast and the Furious, instead of being like, oh no, they were actually committing this other crime, it's just like, no, they just bought all those DVD players.
Yeah, the guys running around on motorcycles shooting up cars with like machine guns are totally innocent of all
they
crimes.
Just get bailed out, and they're like, no, they bought all those DVD players legally. It's fine. And it's like, okay, but like I also have evidence that they did all this shit.
Yeah. How about the point where they shot my car up? The entire world seems very weird in Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
Because other than the fact that there's a long-running joke that no one's ever seen refueling in an entire movie franchise about cars.
Yeah.
Everything seems to be related to cars. The fact that they called like the track day Race Wars was funny, because then we were joking about the fact that like what races are at war, and then everyone started punching each other.
I was like, don't call it a race war. Call it literally anything else. Just call it street races. They're just street races.
But they were in a desert.
Okay, they're desert races. They're just races. They don't need to call them race wars. It means something. Race war means something that's not the thing you're talking about.
Yeah.
Why would they call it that?
I don't know.
Okay.
We decided after this that we're going to, similar to what we did with Mission Impossible, is watch all the movies now.
I'm gonna watch them.
How do you feel? You excited for this idea?
I don't know. I'll watch them though. I mean, I guess I can listen to that whole season of The Worst Idea of All Time.
Where they watched them backwards.
Yeah, they watched F9 9 times, and then I watched The Fate of the Furious 8 times, and then Furious 7 times, and then Fast and Furious 6 times, Fast 5 times, Fast and Furious 4 times, The Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift 3 times, Too Fast, Too Furious twice. The Fast and the Furious. That was me trying to figure out if I could backwards remember the order of the insane naming convention of these movies.
The naming convention is fantastic.
They don't have a naming convention.
Yeah, it's just throw whatever at the wall and whatever sticks is the name of the movie.
Yeah.
There's quite a bit of it. You look distracted over there. What's going on?
I was trying to find. I could have sworn I took down something about the filmmakers having a conversation about it being a rip-off, but I can't find it now, so I feel like I've lost my mind.
Fair enough.
I swear I did, though, that there was like a whole story about it. I just don't see it.
While you rummage through your notes.
Yeah.
The relationship between Patrick Swayze and Keanu Reeves is a little bit more bromancy and fleshed out, where the other one just feels very, what's the word? Well, there's a word for it. It's like parasitic? No, I can't think of the word. You know when you're like attached to somebody in like a social situation? Help me out here. You're just like staring at your phone.
What do you mean when you're attached to somebody in a social situation?
Like
friendship.
No.
Parasocial.
Parasocial. That's the one.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's like when you think you have a friendship with someone that you don't actually like. If you're a fan of someone.
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
He's like down to everything about it of them both ordering tuna fish, which is super weird. Going into the place, and it's like, you know, there's Mia, the sister's supposed to be like this attractive woman, but like he's staring at Dom the entire time. And it is a very, you know, and he's just like, when the cars roll into the background, they like spin around like it's some sort of like entourage of like Paul Walker's character is like a peasant coming to visit the prince, and his prince's knights are turning up. It's very like, they're not one group, it's just like he is the tip of the pyramid, and they're all like, you know, and he's just sort of like in love with him so much that he can't let him go.
Right.
And then went on to make an entire franchise without him until he came back in the fourth movie, I'm assuming. I can't remember.
I don't know.
Yeah, well, you'll find out. You'll find out.
We'll find out when we watch it all together, I guess.
I've watched some of the Fast and the Furious movies, but they've all blended in together, so I don't remember the storyline, if there is any. Because the first one is still the strongest, in my opinion.
Oh, that's very sad to hear.
Because it is based on a much better movie. Which is Point Break.
Oh yeah, okay, cool. So I was going to say, if this one is the strongest, I feel sad about how not strong any of the rest of them will be.
Okay.
Because that means that none of the rest of them, like, that they're all worse than this. Oh yeah, here's the bit I was looking for. Which was that the screenwriter of Point Break, W. Peter Iliff, was friends with Rob Cohen, who wrote The Fast and the Furious. And he apparently contacted Peter Iliff before they shot The Fast and Furious, and he says openly copped to it. But he said that he had no issue with the similarities. And then so he knew that it was going to be a rip-off before it was even shot. He knew that The Fast and Furious was going to be a rip-off of Point Break, and he was just like, yeah, that's fine, because he was friends with the writer.
Right.
So there you go.
Fair enough.
weird.
Okay.
They also both end the same, kind of. I mean, slightly differently, obviously, but the same. Spoiler alert for the endings of these films. Because in both, like, the law enforcement guy does eventually catch up to the ringleader who, as we've mentioned, he's in love with secretly. We should have done this as a Pride episode. That would have been very funny.
I thought this was.
No, our Pride episodes start next episode, after this one. But this is Pride adjacent. We're getting into the spirit of Pride already. But yeah, he catches up with them, and then they have like...
Yeah, Bodhi mentions earlier in the movie that he's going to go to Australia for a 50-year, like, superstorm.
Yeah.
And that's how... Because the fact that, like, Johnny Utah is a FBI agent makes way more sense than just, like, a police officer undercover in LA.
Yeah.
Because they have so many resources that is, like, way blown out of proportion where you could kind of get it with the FBI.
Yeah.
Of just having some newbie who's probably on, like, minimum wage plus something, pretending to serve to try and, like... And he's doing it on his own time.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that he's also not even, like, undercover. He's going to work then and doing work, but then he's going in and being... And he never actually lies to them.
Yeah.
Because he says that, you know, he tells about his college football, or his, high school football career, and, you know, how he got a scholarship and then studied law. And then they're all like, oh, you're a lawyer. And he just says nothing.
Yeah. So
he never actually lies to them about what it is he does. They just make assumptions.
Yeah, they just make assumptions. It's super weird because Paul Walker's character, is in with the supplier that supplies them for their street racing vehicles because he's going to do time, so they employ him instead to, like, have him on so we can get in with the crowd. And then, like, he just falls in love with Dom, and then a bunch of shenanigans happen. They go back to robbing trucks, which seems kind of pointless halfway through the movie, because it's a whole setup as, like, they're robbing people to, like, fund their lifestyle, which is exactly the same as Point Break.
Yeah.
But they were always doing it at night. It was always really, like, fast and it's done. And then the next time round, they're doing it so long that it ends up being day again.
So the reason for that is because now we know it's them and they wanted us to see them do all the stunts.
Yeah, I know that. But, like, from the plot point of view... That's the
only reason that they're doing it in the daytime.
From the plot point of view, it's dumb. The fact that it goes on for ages and there's no other vehicles.
Not a single other car. Except, and then, like, Paul Walker's able to catch up with them immediately.
Yeah, 40 miles away.
Yeah.
And he's just like, oh, I can catch up. The thing that I found out early on, watching these movies, is the Michelle Rodriguez trick she does twice in the movie. Mm-hmm. Which is driving underneath the trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had to, like, custom build a trailer for that because no car can fit underneath it. Especially not a Honda Civic.
Yeah. It's just the whole movie is just a big Honda ad, right?
It's a very, very Japanese-centric, like, car manufacturing ad.
Mm.
The only American car is, like, Dom's dad's car at the end of it, which he totals, like, instantly.
Right.
Yeah, it's a very... But that is sports cars, and, like, boy racers tend to... Like, you don't see a boy racer with a BMW. They have a different class, because there are in Wellington, like, boy racers.
Yeah.
Who only own Beamers, and they do, like, giant long convoys around. But they don't race them, because their cars are expensive, and parts of them are expensive because we're on the opposite side of the planet to Europe.
Yeah.
Where Japanese cars are really easy to import into New Zealand. Not so much into Europe, though. Is there a big, like, boy racer scene in Ireland?
I mean, there probably is, but I've never encountered it.
It's all tractors. In County Cork. They're just tractor boys.
Probably out in Limerick.
Plough boys.
The plough boys. No, I don't know. I mean, if there is, it probably is in Dublin, to be fair. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I've never encountered boy racers, but I imagine they exist. It is primarily kind of European, but there are lots of Japanese cars in Ireland.
Yeah.
But it is harder to get, like, parts if something needs replacing.
Yeah, same as when you got a European car in New Zealand.
Yeah.
You have to go to a specialist European place.
Hmm.
And your car sits out parked on the street for like 3 weeks before the random bolt has to be custom engineered and sold in Germany or something.
Right.
And couriered here. You look very distracted this episode. What's going on?
Honestly, there's an error message on my computer that it's annoying me, but I can still see that the podcast is recording, so it's not.
Okay.
It's not impacting it, hopefully. But it is. I want to. The problem is I want to like dismiss it, except then it'll just be like a click noise that I'll have to edit out, and I'm not bothered.
Fair enough.
So, this has been a fun technical difficulties part of the podcast without any actual technical difficulties.
Here's a fun game.
Yeah.
Name 3 things you liked about the Fast and the Furious movie, and 3 things you didn't like about Point Break.
This is like you did this with Sinners as well. This is easier than that though. The Fast and Furious isn't as bad as From Dusk Till Dawn, and Point Break isn't as good as Sinners, so it's easy enough. I do think, and it is an argument that people have, I do think that Keanu Reeves can be a little wooden in his performance.
Yeah, but
I also think that he's less wooden than every single character in The Fast and the Furious. Which was like watching 2 sticks of bamboo sit across a table from each other. Does that count as a thing I don't like about... But I do like him in it. But he's not super emotive.
Yeah, I think it took a long time for Keanu to get into his like niche of where he's... Because I think people gave him roles based on his popularity that he couldn't do.
Right.
Like Bram Stoker's Dracula is awful.
Yeah,
his
that one is bad.
Yeah. The reason I feel like him as Neo in The Matrix makes sense because his performance is wooden.
Yeah.
So... And the same with John Wick, because he's just like a silent killer type character.
I mean, you do have Point Break to thank for John Wick.
Yeah.
Because that was his first ever action role.
Yeah.
And at the time, people were like, you can't cast Keanu Reeves in an action role. Like, that's ridiculous. It's not going to work. And Kathryn Bigelow was like, I will not make this movie if Keanu Reeves is not in it. So we can thank Kathryn Bigelow for literally his entire action career that he then had afterwards.
Okay.
Did that count as something that I dislike about Point Break, or do you need something else?
No, that counts.
Okay. 3 things I like about the Fast and the Furious. Okay, let me think about this.
Okay. You just like the problem.
Wow.
Is,
I don't want to have dead air on the podcast.
Was it the performances of any of the
not
characters?
The performances. Not the VFX.
Okay.
That's bad.
What about the cars?
I don't even really care about cars is the problem. So that's not even...
Was it friendship?
I didn't like the fact that they kept referring to things as race wars. That was bad.
My favorite...
I liked that when they were having their race wars or whatever, or their street races, that they had someone whose job it was to listen to police radar.
Yeah.
I felt like, oh, that makes sense. They didn't have any kind of lookout really in Point Break.
For their surfing.
When they were robbing
my God, the police
banks. Oh yeah, I suppose they didn't have a lookout when they were doing the robbing. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's a good point, actually.
Yeah.
They didn't need lookouts for surfing.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
They're called not Coast Guard. What are they called?
Lifesaving.
Life-saving.
Oh God. I didn't like that Vin Diesel played a 24-year-old.
Okay. The fact that you kept bringing up his ambitious, his, what's the word when you don't know what something is? Oh,
his ambiguous ethnicity.
Yeah.
I thought that was very funny because there's a comment early on where someone like makes a comment about Paul Walker's character Brian being the only white guy.
Yeah.
Which he isn't anyway, because Vince is clearly a white guy. But I was like, is Vin Diesel not white? Because I thought Vin Diesel was a white guy.
No.
And so Vin Diesel, well, we don't know.
I thought he was Puerto Rican.
He's not.
Yeah.
So his mother is white, of European descent.
Yeah.
American. And then he has an adoptive African-American father.
Yeah.
He doesn't know his biological father. And anytime someone asks him about ethnicity, he just says, it's ambiguous.
Yeah.
Which is not a thing you say. You say, I don't know, if you don't know, or you say, I'm mixed race, or I'm mixed and I'm not sure what the mix is, but I know that I'm mixed race, or, or something like that. But just like, it's ambiguous is just a strange response to that question.
It became confusing during the race war of...
during the race war.
What races were
I didn't know what races were at war in the race wars. But then we were talking about this with our friends this morning. I don't think you had joined the call at that point.
I was cuddling our producer Strata.
Yeah, but we were talking about Vin Diesel's ambiguous ethnicity and how that he can use that to his advantage to play like any ethnicity.
Yeah.
And then we were talking about other actors who do that, and we somehow got onto... Oh no, I think how we started out was we were actually talking about that Ben Kingsley plays a Maori guy in Ender's Game.
Oh god, that movie is so terrible.
And then we started talking about Cliff Curtis and all the ethnicities he's played as just like slightly ambiguous looking brown guy.
Yeah.
Because he's played like Indian, he's played... other Western Asian nation or nationalities. He's played Mexican and he's played South American or Latin American characters.
Middle Eastern.
Yeah, well, that's West. I was trying to get away from the colonialist language of calling it Middle East and calling it Western Asia instead. That's the same region.
How can something be middle of the East? And...
because it was to do with the British Empire.
Yeah, I know.
And he's played Native American, and he's played Samoan in this franchise.
Okay.
He plays Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's brother.
How do we know? We haven't got there yet.
Because I was looking up Cliff Curtis. I was looking up all the different like ethnicities Cliff Curtis has played, and one of them was that he plays Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's Samoan brother. Which is, I guess, closer to his actual ethnicity than most of the rest of these.
Yeah, that's true.
And obviously he's played Maori in a few things, including Sunshine, which we've covered on the podcast.
Yeah.
And he's played Navi.
Makes sense. He is a New Zealander, and they are made here.
But, so, like Cliff Curtis, Vin Diesel plays many different ethnicities in different movies based on the fact that he doesn't tell anyone what his actual ethnicity is. And that he looks like vaguely ethnic.
Yeah.
Is that how Hollywood would describe him? So I don't know we got on. I don't think I can say that that's something I like about the movie. You brought it up.
Yeah.
What have I even named anything yet? I said I liked that the guy listens to the police radar, which feels like such a scramble. Yeah. I think it's really weird that the cops meet the undercover cop just like in like a house, just like in a fancy house with a pool. That seems strange. But also
it was confiscated, right?
Is that what it is?
It's a confiscated house and they're using it as a base of operations.
That makes sense. But the first time they bring him there, they have to like
arrest him and
bring him there. But then every other time he just shows up.
Yeah.
So I don't like that.
There's plot line in this movie that isn't used more than once, even though it was set up as being super important.
Oh my god, what do I like about the movie? No, the thing is that we're planning to watch 9 more of these. 10 more of these? Are we watching Hobbs and Shaw?
I guess we could.
Okay. So we're going to watch 10 more of these
movies.
movies.
We'll have to figure out where it sits in the timeline.
I can't name a second thing I like about it. And the first thing I liked about it was such a reach to begin with. Did I take any notes about things that were positive? Did I write anything? One of the first things I wrote was about, like, I thought it was weird that the truck driver had a police baton.
I thought he had like a mini bat.
I think he had a police baton. And I was
yeah,
like, oh, I thought, is this a Sting? And it wasn't. He just had one.
Yeah. Also, his team, they have a dart gun that they shoot the driver with. And then that dart gun is never used on the third driver who's like shooting them.
All I'm finding in here are things there's so many question marks in my notes.
Okay.
Because I've just been like confused by the whole movie. So I had like, there was all the souped up cars that pulled up, and then I was like, they're fighting, and then I was like, I don't know what the connection is between any of these characters. They just all like rocked up in some cars and started fighting each other. And then I was
which part was that?
Near the beginning, and then I was like...
So they went to a car meetup to then go to somewhere else to have a street race. Is that what you're talking about?
No, so it was when they arrived at the place where Paul Walker was getting the sandwich that he doesn't like.
Right.
That every day she tells him the sandwich is bad, and then he says, okay, I'll have it anyway, and then he doesn't like the sandwich, and the next day he comes back and asks how the tuna is, and she says it's bad, and he says, alright, give it to me, and then he doesn't like the sandwich again.
Yeah.
And then all these cars rocked up, and then they all just started fighting each other, and then they all started fighting him.
Because I think that Vince has this, like, he's very protective of the family, and I feel like he's also... what he thought, like, him and Mia would be together. That's what it feels like.
I want to know how this is like a whole other... I'm just looking at my notes, and I'm looking at an entire other thing that was another mystery to me.
Okay.
Dom searches for Brian's fake name on the internet.
Yeah.
And pulls up, like, a juvenile hall record.
Yeah, so, yeah.
How did they... Like, did they just, like... create a fake record that was available online?
Yeah, they're the police.
Okay, that was weird. Also, I was thinking about this at the time, which is very stupid, is that I like that he said he did an internet search.
Yeah. Because
this movie...
Oh, God.
...came out in the very small window between when Google was launched as a search engine and the episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer where Willow coins the term Googling.
Right.
So Googling wasn't a verb yet at this point, but Google did exist. So he could have looked him up on Google, or it could have been like Ask Jeeves or something. We don't know.
AOL
but he just
search.
He was just like, I did an internet search. Maybe it was Bing. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll never know, because the word Google as a verb didn't exist until the following year. Anyway, I just thought that was fun.
My favourite trivia that you constantly go on about about Vin Diesel as a person is
that he was doing a live?
He really got into... I feel like he learned how to do something and then didn't learn anything else. It's the doing the live thing, which was when he was at places...
Guys, I'm doing a live.
He would do a Facebook live.
Hey guys, we're doing a live. Guys, I'm doing a live right now. I'm doing a live. Hey guys, I'm doing a live. Guys, I'm doing a live right now.
Yep.
And it's always with the cast of Fast and Furious that he's doing a live. He's doing a live right now. Did you know he's doing a live? Guys, I'm doing a live. My favorite... So this is like every live stream with Vin Diesel is him repeatedly telling everyone within earshot that he's doing a live.
Yeah.
And then there's like one of him with the cast, the Fast and Furious cast, just like hanging out on couches, and they all look so exhausted by the fact that he keeps pointing the camera at them. Like they all like look like they wish they could be anywhere else. My favorite one is when he was at a premiere. He was on the red carpet.
Yeah, he put the phone in his pocket.
Yeah, he was doing a Facebook Live, and then someone went to interview him, and he put the phone in his pocket, and then walked the rest of the red carpet with the Facebook Live going in his pocket, and then he took it out. He was like, "Oh my god, I was doing a live! I forgot I was doing a live." You should look this up. It's like crazy.
It reminds me of when Snoop Dogg started streaming, and for 3 days he was muted. There was no sound. And, of course, because he's too famous to read chat, he didn't know.
Right.
That's also, like, I'm going to get into something I don't fully understand.
Yeah.
But it's going to be popular because I'm popular. So that was 1.5 things that you liked about Fast and the Furious, I guess?
I'm trying to... I don't even remember the movie, because my notes here... Here's some notes that are... back to back. So I said they're supposed to be 24 and then 4 question marks after it. On what planet are we supposed to believe Vin Diesel is 24? Another 4 question marks. And then the next thing says, why do they all have superpowers now? And then why didn't the kid put on his armor shell? Or just duck? What superpowers do they? Oh, it's when they had the Spidey sense. When the guys on bikes come to shoot them. And they all get like the Spidey sense before anyone arrives. And then Vin Diesel and Paul Walker like leap out of the way in slow motion and also get shot multiple times and don't actually get shot, even though they're clearly shot multiple times. And then the other kid just stands there and gets shot and doesn't move out of the way, even though he had the Spidey sense.
Yeah. There's also that weird scene at the last race where the editing becomes horrible.
Oh, I've thought of something I like about it. Right? Oh, yeah. My pet peeve in movies with cars is that people never look at where they're going and then never have an accident. I do really like that the one time Vin Diesel doesn't look at the road, he immediately totals his car. I'm like, yeah, that's what happens when you're like staring wistfully at the guy in the car next to you and not looking at where you're going and there's a truck in front of you. Because so many movies, people are like looking behind them, talking, doing whatever, not looking at the road, and I'm like, just watch where you're driving, you idiot. So I like that the time that he didn't watch where he was driving, he did like flip his car a million times and destroy it.
Yep.
Does that count?
Yep.
How many things did I say I liked? Is that only 2? What was the half one you said?
I don't know.
You were taking a half one from somewhere. But I don't know what the half one was.
If you know what the half one is, go to our website. It takes2.co.nz.
I just don't know.
Join our mailing list. Join our social media. It takes2.co.nz.
I can't even find anything in my notes that implies that I enjoyed any part of the movie.
Yet you volunteered to watch the other 9 of these. 10.
I have a note here that just says Dom hands him a piece of paper with directions to race wars. I'm coming around on it. Maybe I like that they call it race wars. I think it's the stupidest name they could possibly give what they're doing. But there's something inherently entertaining about the fact that they just totally nonchalantly, repeatedly talk about going and participating in race wars.
Yeah. Not knowing the whole...
Despite the fact that, like, again, other than Paul Walker, most of them are not white characters. These are people of color who should hear the term race war and think about race wars.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Because the only person other than Paul Walker that is white in this movie is Vince, right?
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, and then, like, other police people maybe, but even they're, like, a mix of...
Yeah. But they're not involved in the race war, though. It's only the racists who are involved in the race war.
Yeah, I guess so.
Racers. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting... Because we did this with Mission Impossible.
You just watched all of them. Yeah. Big franchise, watched all of them.
But those are enjoyable.
Yeah, I mean, these might be enjoyable. They're just going to be... I just hope that they changed the editing and the special effects for the rest of them. And then it would be bonus that if they also improved, like, the writing or the directing or the acting. If any of those improved, that'd be great.
Yeah, it's just bonus.
They do have different actors in the next couple, right? Or is Too Fast, Too Furious still the same cast, and then Tokyo Drift is different actors?
So Too Fast, Too Furious, I think, is Ludacris and Tyrone, something I can't remember his last name, and then Tokyo Drift is set in Tokyo, so it's a completely different cast. And I don't remember anything else.
Okay.
Jason Momoa's in it. Dwayne The Rock Johnson's
Jason Statham shows up.
Jason Statham.
And obviously Cliff Curtis.
Yeah.
Is apparently
Natalie Emmanuel's in it.
I don't know who that is.
She was in Game of Thrones.
Playing who?
The handmaiden to Emilia Clarke's character.
Ah, okay. Cool.
I cannot remember because I've blanked out of most of like my memories of Game of Thrones because of the terrible show.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay. I guess we should talk about Point Break because we've basically
fantastic movie.
Given away
everything about
everything
it's
that
great.
And...
The only negative thing about Point Break is you cannot have a conversation while skydiving. It's physically impossible. Mythbusters tested it.
Yeah.
So none of those scenes make sense.
I mean, only that they understood each other is what doesn't make sense. Because you could absolutely scream some words.
Yeah, but no one
is going to hear them.
The stunts in the movie are fantastic. Much better than Fast and the Furious. The Fast and the Furious, because obviously it gets insane later. The
time where Keanu Reeves is like koala bear hugging Patrick Swayze, they can probably hear each other then because they're like just whispering in each other's ears.
No.
No, because I could hear my instructor when I did it.
Oh, so you have to be like really, really close.
Yeah.
So you can't just like have a conversation as far away from where we are.
No. Yeah, you would. This would be just wind.
Yeah.
But like if you're like right up if your head is like right next to the person. So I think when they're doing that, like when he's doing that like koala cuddle.
Yeah.
And they're like right next to each other's ears, and he's like, pull the chute. I think they could have that conversation.
Right.
But the times when they're all like in the big circle, no one is hearing anything.
Yeah, it's all hand signals.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic sequences. The editing and the cinematography of Point Break are absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, Keanu Reeves is good, even if a little wooden.
Yeah.
Patrick Swayze obviously is very charming.
Yeah.
So he kind of carries the two of them, you know.
In every relationship you have to have somebody who's the introvert and the extrovert.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So you're Patrick Swayze and I'm Keanu Reeves?
100%.
Yeah. I'll come over there and koala grab you.
Okay, can we finish the podcast?
I think all of the actors are actually pretty good in it as well. That's the thing, is that like in the Fast and Furious, there's no solid performances whatsoever. Whereas in Point Break, Keanu Reeves being slightly wooden is the only downfall.
Yeah.
Like all the rest of the characters are acted pretty well. You know, I think Gary Busey does a great job.
Yeah.
I think John McGinley, is that his name?
The guy who was in Scrubs.
John C. McGinley, is that his name?
Yeah, I think that's what his name is.
I think he does a good job, and I think they work really well as like very opposing authority figures.
Yeah.
I think Lori Petty playing Tyler is really good. Even like minor characters are all performed really well. And also you have to say that a lot of that is down to directing as well. Like Kathryn Bigelow does a really good job. I will say, like, I mean, I know I had seen Point Break before, so I had some prior knowledge going into it.
You saw it for the first time at the movie theatre.
Yeah.
I'm so jealous.
That was so cool.
Yeah.
And it was for like a Valentine's Day special, so that was funny because it was a bromance movie.
Yeah.
But when we watched the Fast and the Furious, because we did genuinely watch these back to back, because sometimes we watch them on 2 days in a row, but we watched these back to back. I was really not happy about how any of the female characters are in it. Like,
they're set dressing.
It's just like reeks of women written by men, and it was like upsetting to watch. And I was like, I think Point Break is primarily written by men, but it's directed. I was like, at least I know that a woman is directing this. And that's like not me being sexist, but me going, at least the female characters are treated as humans.
Yeah.
Which they are absolutely not in the Fast and Furious. The female characters are not humans.
Yeah. I think Michelle Rodriguez has one scene by herself, and it's just her racing.
Yeah.
From a guy who's sexualizing her.
Yeah.
And then he beats her. Or she beats him. And that's it. And Michelle Rodriguez was actually dating Vin Diesel last time, which is crazy. Yeah.
I don't understand why. She could do better.
Wow.
I like Michelle Rodriguez. I really liked her in the D&D movie, Honor Among Thieves.
Yeah.
She's great in that. But my first introduction to Michelle Rodriguez was Lost back in the day. So I still, to this day, I see Michelle Rodriguez and I think of her as Ana Lucia in Lost primarily. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so Michelle Rodriguez is probably the most human of the female characters in the Fast and Furious, and it's very low.
Yeah.
The bar is tiny. Whereas Tyler feels like a fully fleshed out character.
Yeah.
In Point Break, which is nice. But there also are not a lot of women in it.
No.
It could have been more women. It definitely does not pass the Bechdel test. Well, neither of them do. I mean, The Fast and the Furious has multiple named female characters with lines, but they are literally just there to ogle the men.
Yeah.
That's their whole purpose.
Yeah.
So, but Point Break doesn't have enough female characters to pass the Bechdel test.
Yeah.
Not that that's... I mean, the Bechdel test is a very tiny baseline for having women in your movie. It shouldn't be... It's like having a quota for how many women you should have on your staff. You shouldn't be like, oh, I have been hired because of that before.
Yeah.
And the person was like, I don't know why people complain. I get the minimum number of women. And I was like, cool. Well... I guess that's why I got this job. Thanks. What was I saying? Oh yeah. So I was happy that we were going to watch a Kathryn Bigelow movie where, at the very least, the women who are in it are treated as people. Yeah, it's directed well. It's acted well. It doesn't need special effects really, but like where there are effects and things, they're done well. They also they genuinely did do skydiving.
Yeah.
Obviously the bits where they're all like around talking to each other is on like a where they're like on in like a set or whatever, dangling with fans or some shit.
Yeah.
But they did also genuinely do skydiving. Also, they had to keep Patrick Swayze got so into skydiving they had to be like, we need to put something in your contract to say you can't skydive, and then he just kept skydiving in his free time and stuff. Because they were like, our insurance company hates how much you're skydiving. But he had never, I don't think he'd ever done skydiving before, but his brother was a professional skydiver, right. I think, or like a...
Yeah, because it takes several jumps before you're allowed to jump by yourself.
Yeah. So he trained in skydiving for this movie and then absolutely loved it. Same thing happened to Keanu Reeves, but with surfing.
Yeah.
He had never surfed before, and Keanu Reeves is part Hawaiian. He went to Hawaii to learn to surf when he got the role, and then he still surfs to this day, I believe. Yeah. He genuinely fell in love with surfing. We've kind of segued into trivia.
Yeah, let's keep going with the trivia.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. For the Fast and Furious, neither Michelle Rodriguez nor Jordana Brewster had driver's licenses when they were cast. So they didn't even have learner's permits. They had to get their learner's permits after being cast, and then took driving lessons during the production so that they could drive in the movies. This I thought was insane. In the scenes where they're like driving on streets past like houses in the background, the filmmakers asked the owners of the houses to repaint their houses with muted colors so that the cars would look more colorful driving past them. Which feels like the audacity to be like, hey, your house is too bright for this film we're shooting out here, and I want my car to look real good. Can you paint your house? What?
If a movie production came up to me and were like, hey, can you repaint your house? We're going to pay for it. I'd be like, okay.
It didn't specify that they paid for it, but I guess they must have, because otherwise that would be insane. This next, I took only one more bit of trivia about the Fast and the Furious, and you will know why I took it when I get to the end of it, which was that in its opening weekend, it earned $40 million and ranked number 1 at the box office, ahead of the other films that were in cinema at the time, which were Dr. Dolittle 2, Lara Croft Tomb Raider, and Atlantis, The Lost Empire, which we just did in our previous episode. So they were literally in cinema at the same time. Isn't that fun. Crazy? For
a lot
Point
of stuff
Break,
happened that year.
Yeah, yes, true. For Point Break, so the surfing sequences were really challenging to shoot. Patrick Swayze cracked 4 of his ribs doing the surfing. and he refused to use a stunt double for most of the surfing scenes, because in his career he never had stunt doubles for fight scenes or car chases, so he wanted to do the surfing as well. He also did his skydiving scenes himself, and their aerial jump instructor Jim Wallace said that Patrick Swayze was a natural and he took to it right away. He ended up making 55 jumps for the film.
Wow.
Yeah. And the only times I did have note, there's only like 2 or 3 times in the film where he was replaced with a stunt double in the surfing. One of them was that final wave that he goes out into. Yeah, I've already mentioned Keanu Reeves took up surfing as a long-time hobby after learning to surf for the film.
Yep.
They held fight training sessions for the cast on weekends with the stunt coordinator, Glenn Wilder, because Kathryn Bigelow wanted the actors to do their own fights on screen without having stuntmen.
Right.
One cast member refused to show up for the stunt for the fighting training sessions, which was Anthony Kiedis from Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah.
Which is why when they do the first fight sequence in the movie, they knock him out with one punch.
Yeah.
Because they were like, if you're not coming to the practices, you're not getting to fight on screen. So I love that. They just were like, nope, you come to the practice or you don't get to fight. They had planned to make a sequel to be released in 1993. They wrote a script. It was in pre-production when it was cancelled. Even though the original wasn't a flop, it was quite successful. The studio decided to scrap the project while it was in pre-production, and that's why we didn't get a sequel, which is sad.
Well, we did. It was called The Fast and the Furious.
True, we did get The Fast and the Furious.
It was a soft reboot.
Johnny Utah, his backstory involves him having a knee injury that ends his college football career, right? Which is actually the actual backstories of both Keanu Reeves and Patrick Swayze.
That's fun.
So Keanu Reeves was a high school hockey goaltender. Obviously, he's Canadian, so he was playing hockey. He was so successful, he earned the nickname The Wall because he was such a good goalkeeper. And then he had a knee injury that prevented him from pursuing a professional hockey career, so he started acting instead. And that's why we have Keanu Reeves, the actor. Patrick Swayze was a high school footballer and had a severe knee injury during a football game in his senior year, and then he had to have multiple surgeries, and as physical therapy he got into dancing and gymnastics, which then obviously led into his career.
Yeah.
So I think it's interesting that both of the lead actors in this movie have the careers they had at the time because of knee injuries playing sports in school. I mentioned Kathryn Bigelow fought to have Keanu Reeves cast as Johnny Utah, saying that she wouldn't film the movie without him. The studio and producers wanted higher profile actors, and they primarily were looking at Johnny Depp as Johnny Utah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Could you imagine that movie with Johnny Depp in it?
Yeah.
Awful.
It wouldn't be good. I just can't imagine having the chemistry with Swayze that Keanu Reeves does. And then, what was I going to say? During the filming of the final scene, when they're out on the beach and it's raining and they're in the big storm and, because they were spending so many hours out there doing takes, and they were, getting wet from the continuous rain, they had a hot tub on the beach that Keanu Reeves and Patrick Swayze could get into in between takes. So because they get soaked in it anyway, so they're gonna be soaked through, and just to keep them warm in between takes, they just brought a hot tub to the beach and got them to sit in a hot tub in between their takes, which I think is very funny.
It's that what's that statement about peeing your pants and being in love?
Oh yeah.
Everybody else can see it, but you're the only one that can feel the warmth.
Yeah. And then the other thing, just because I hadn't noticed this, but I guess it feels subtle enough to me, but maybe American audiences would notice it more. But the group that are doing the robberies in Point Break are known as the ex-presidents.
Yeah.
They all wear masks of former United States presidents who were still living at the time. But when they die in the movie, they are killed in the order of when their president served in office.
Oh, I didn't notice that either.
Yeah.
That's really clever writing.
That's so cool. I was like, that's actually fantastic. I love that they did that. Had you looked at box offices and budgets for these?
No, I think like Point Break made twice of what it cost, and I'm assuming Fast and the Furious just printed money like it was nothing, because I remember the year it came out because I was at school and every single boy in my class talked about it for months.
Fair. Yeah. The budgets aren't too far off. So the Point Break was 24 million budget, and Fast and the Furious was 38 million in budget, so a higher budget, probably mostly spent on the horrible special effects.
Yeah.
In terms of box office, Point Break did decent. It got 83 million.
Yeah.
So it's like 4 times, or almost 4 times what it, well, 3.5 times what it cost. So that's not bad. Fast and the Furious made 207 million.
Yeah.
So definitely significantly higher box office. And I mean, evidenced by the many sequels. The still ongoing series, like 25 years later.
Fantastic. If you've enjoyed this episode, share it with a friend. If you like the Fast and the Furious series, let us know by joining us somewhere previously mentioned on our website at takes2.co.nz, and we'd like to hear from you.
Yeah, tell us what movies the other ones rip off so that we can do these episodes with the naming conventions of Fast and Furious. 2.2 break.
Yeah. No.
Point and break. Tokyo Drift.
Lord of the Rings, Tokyo Drift. Return of the King, Tokyo Drift.
Lord X.
Yeah. Thank you for joining
Ring
us.
7.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah. Check out our website, ittakes2.co.nz.
Said that.
Share an episode with your friends. Share this episode. Share a different episode. Check out the Where to Start page if you haven't listened to our other episodes yet. I will say I was looking through our analytics yesterday, and I got really excited to see that I could see that someone they found it from our Tumblr page, the Where to Start, and then clicked into an episode from that, and then clicked into a related episode, and like I could see all the episodes this person clicked into, starting with they went into Where to Start and then which section they chose and then whatever. I'm just a nerd, and I just thought that was fun. Fun to be like, ooh, this person actually used the Where to Start. Where did they end up? What did they go into? They were looking at fun episodes, and then so I thought that was cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, but that's where you can go, and you can support us through sharing this or interacting with us on social media, or just telling people about the podcast.
Thank you for joining us.
We'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.